All right. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Asia. Good morning, North America. Good morning, Europe. And good morning, Asia. And whichever continent you're watching us from. This is the Rokani David guy coming in through this morning to obviously bring you the latest news and information as far as everything is concerned. And this week, so Bruno Guimaraes take part into his first training session at the club of Arsenal. We note it that he was training last week, but we all know that what they give us as something official is what we're obviously going to be taking. For example, they've given us the footage of him training with the club of Arsenal this week. So can we come up and say that he didn't train last week? We won't. But the first footage of Arsenal players training, together as a squad for the very first time is out. And this is why we're here, to bring you everything here onto the Rokani Media Football. Smash the like button, comment, and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And we are left with just 20 subscribers to hit 30,000 subscribers. So please go ahead, do the needful, and subscribe. If you're watching us here and you've not yet subscribed, please go ahead and really subscribe to see to it that we hit this big milestone in here for you. And it's all about the Rokani Media Football fraternity and family building this up. Now, let's first get to what we call the Soboha Reality Training Center. And they told us that Bruno Guimaraes hit the training pitch at Soboha Reality Training Center for the first time over the weekend, and you can see what he got up to with a special edition of Inside Training. Having put pen to paper on a long-term contract last week, Bruno Guimaraes was at Arsenal's training ground for his first session with our coaching staff, hitting the gym and taking to the training pitches. After putting in the hard work ahead of the new season, the Brazilian walked out at the Emirates as an Arsenal player for the first time before our Emirates tie against Borussia Dortmund. Now, that is Bruno Guimaraes for you. Now, because the footage is really mixed up with the likes of Bukayo Saka and so on and so forth, let's obviously hear from the Saka side and see how things really went ahead to obviously happen. They've told us that the England and Spain superstars that really played in the semi-finals and the finals of the World Cup returned to training for the first time since their involvement in the World Cup, and you can see how they got on with Arsenal's training. Third place finishes England and champion Spain boosted 7 Gunners between the squads, but after a well-earned rest, they were back at Soboha Reality Training Center ahead of Arsenal's pre-season clash with Italian side known as Como. After a 3-2 defeat to Borussia Dortmund and entertaining Emirates tie, Arsenal will be looking to finish pre-season in a high before they take on Man City in the Community Shield on Sunday. Now, that's what they've gone ahead to let us know about this particular game of football. And then they told us that Arsenal faces Como today, and you obviously going to be saying how they prepared for this game in there for you. So this is what takes us to these photos and footage that you guys need to see. And let's just see close to 300 likes on the video, right? So that is Ebelechi Eze, one of the returnees from the holidays. That is Mikel Merino. You very much know him. Mr. World Cup, scoring a very crucial goal when they're knocking out Portugal in there for you. And I think he scored one against, was it Belgium? That is Odegaard, Captain Fantastic, came up in the game of a team called came up in the game of a team called Dortmund, gave us some good cameo of 30 minutes, and I think you guys enjoyed it. And it paints an image of how Arsenal is obviously going to be looking this entire season. That he might be given the license to obviously be in positions where people like Mr. London want him to be, not to behave like a number 8, yet we call him a number 10, right? Then Kai Havertz, for him, he has been here for close to a month, ever since he returned from the holidays. That is Bukayo Saka. You see his new hairstyle, one of those that returned in good and perfect shape at the club of Arsenal. Then we obviously have to see a man called Fabio Vieira. For him, he'll be leaving Arsenal, and they expected to sell him to a club known as Hamburg. Declan Rice, obviously, you know what Declan Rice brings to the team of Arsenal. And Salmon, one of the most entertaining players from the academy this preseason. And he's getting out of caps now. The main man, Bruno Guimaraes, in there for you. Shirt number 39, obviously, at the Sobha Reality Training Center. Then Bruno G with his fellow Brazilian, Gabriel Jesus, obviously trying to pray and see how things really add up in there. Then this is Bukayo Saka, a man who wears a smile every time he looks at the camera. Ever a smiling boy. Hell End Academy graduate in there for you. This is Bruno Guimaraes, obviously taking part in the training session at the club of Arsenal at the Sobha Reality Training Center, and you see him looking to be in the mood. Bruno Guimaraes, who calls himself a warrior. Now, obviously the fitness coach of Arsenal taking through these players and giving them orders on how they obviously gonna be doing the duels. And the main man, Bruno G, is here. I see Madueke. I see this is Martinelli, Fabio Vieira, Salmon. This is Declan Rice. I see Mosquera in there for you. So that is how Arsenal were in the gym, as the fitness coach was like, we obviously gonna do A, B, C, D. And they are all ears in there. Now, they started off to do what exactly the gym instructor had gone ahead to tell them to do. That is Declan Rice and Eze partnering up in there for you. Then Bruno G obviously was lifting some weights in there for you, as he really did it for the club of Arsenal in there for you. So that man is the reason as to why I've gone ahead to do this video. That is it. Because when the season starts, you know very well that I'll be bringing you this footage in terms of how Arsenal prepared for such and such a team. And I think with effect from Sunday morning, we'll obviously be getting this, right? Martinelli trying out the weights at the gym of Arsenal. Now this is Martin Zubimendi, you know, a player who is being rumored that Arsenal might sell him. And wait to see whether he stays at Arsenal or not. Then Bruno Guimaraes and his fellow Brazilian known as Big Gabi, right? And he was looking at Big Gabi, and he might be around such players because of the connection in language, country, and so on and so forth. And they're these kind of players that will help him feel at home. And I really understand what Arteta is doing. He's really making him be around his fellow national mates in there for you. And that is Madueke, player returning from the international holidays, and he's back to see to it that he really gets up and running. This is Ebelechi Eze and Bukayo Saka doing the needful to see to it that they put in a very, very huge shift in there for you. So that is what we are seeing from the main man known as Arteta. And these two have just gone ahead to return. You understand? These two have just gone ahead to return. And them returning speaks volumes for the club of Arsenal in there for you. And they will be doing the needful. Then Arteta obviously issuing tough instructions to his players. And you know him very well. He's known to that coach that wants to speak what his players want to hear. He's this kind of manager who obviously goes ahead to call a spade, and he has that authority to speak because he has led them to the first Premier League trophy triumph in 2 decades. Right, I was going to say 20 decades, in 2 decades. Martin Zubimendi, obviously, with the main man, that is Bruno Guimaraes, doing the needful in there for you to see to it that all goes on well. As planned, I see Miles Lewis-Kelly rumored to be leaving the club of Arsenal in there for you, and obviously trying to do what we call a rendo. You understand? It is what we call a rendo in the game of football. And obviously a rondo is a mini game because when you are in the game of football, those are the triangles and diamonds that you make. If you're not playing a pattern of a rectangle, of a triangle in the game of football, then you are obviously doing the needful. And it's a popular training drill where a large group of players pass the ball to each other inside a small grid or circle, while a smaller group of defenders tries to intercept or win it back. So that is what they are doing. It's called the rendo. Again, this is Ethan Nwaneri being tracked by Bruno Guimaraes, and you see where his foot was. He's a warrior, and he's a hard tackler, and so he was trying to obviously tackle Ethan Nwaneri, but it looks like he never even came close to Ethan Nwaneri. That is it. Then this is Zolis. I've told you about that guy from the first game. I see him play for the club of Arsenal. Trust me, he's gonna be a very good player at the club of Arsenal. I tell you. Totally good player. Now, this is the goalkeeper trying to pass it all out in there during training alongside Salmon. Now, this is Res Nelson pressing Big Gabi, towering over lad in training. Then we obviously have this Arsenal youngster in training. Then Bruno G, obviously, now with possession and trying to obviously accelerate towards the goal, because in all these training sessions, you will see such moments getting along. So another player known as Salmon, being pressed by Res Nelson in there for you. Then Declan Rice and Mikel Merino obviously coming up and obviously doing the needful. Then this is Noni Madueke, obviously in training. And this is Odegaard, obviously with David Ibrahim, my namesake. I like that boy. He's a baller, I tell you. Toto baller in there for you. And his future is brother the club of Arsenal. And by the way, the departure of the reason why I think Arsenal want to get out this guy known as Miles Lewis-Kelly and getting money to help them really finance their transfer is because that they've gone ahead to see another player known as Ibrahim David Yeye, who can really do better than this guy. And Arsenal fans all over the world tell me, Ibrahim Yeye and Miles Lewis-Kelly, who do you pick? I leave it for you. This is Zolis, right? This is Zolis coming in through to do the needful during training. The guy is a machine. He's like a robot. He doesn't get tired. He's a player who presses throughout. You understand? Benjamin White, man, something is not yet okay with his knee. That's why I think he's tying these things around him. So I don't think that Arsenal will keep him around. They'll obviously offload him, especially if at all they bring in his replacement. And that is Arteta and Christian Mosquera, And I know this season is really going to be big for him as William Saliba is injured for some long time. So he needs to come and really show us that it's high time to really show that he can also take over. But good enough is that we've seen him alongside Big Gabi in big games, and they've gone ahead to play very well. Remember in the game of Liverpool, he came on and he played very, very well, Eze in there for you. Noni Madueke and Bukayo Saka, you understand? And they are really doing good. Bruno G looking on and reading the game, and is like, I'm home right now. That is Bruno Guimaraes, the main reason as to why I've gone here to do this video. This is David Raya, obviously, first choice goalkeeper for the club of Arsenal. No one doubts. Arteta all smiles and is loving what he's seeing at the training sessions for the club of Arsenal. He's really moved. This is Zolis and Bruno Guimaraes sharing a word. And obviously, when you see players like this, it's like one is telling the other, please, when you're playing, give me the ball in such and such a position. That's where I'm really deadly. And Bruno G is listening. And we know he's a genius at that. You understand? So, to me, I can see their body language. And it was all about Bruno G being told by Zolis, please, when you get the ball, obviously, try to obviously put it in my vicinity. You get here. Either in space or on my body. I can beat these players that I'll be facing in there for you. And Bruno G all smiles at the training session of Arsenal. So that is it all about Bruno G. And then Noni Madueke sums it up with that big smile always. So your reactions on Bruno Guimaraes' first training session for the club of Arsenal are welcome in the comment section below. And Rokani David remains my name. First video of the day. And let's obviously get to the next level of 30,000 subscribers. Today has to be the day we hit 30,000 subscribers. In history, we are less by 20 and let go.